You've chosen a podcast by Low Moon Vagabonds. Vagabonds is the newest section of the campaign, and we're looking forward to entertaining you going forward.
The ship pulls out of the pier. You have to kind of, he's picking his way through, so he's left and right and so on. And it's not like, you have to adjust the sails every time. Like he'll say, okay, raise the mainsail, and then you turn against the wind, and like, let fall the mainsail. So it's a workout. You're pulling ropes, you're raising and lowering sails, and steering the boat in and out of traffic. Okay. Meanwhile, he invited Lotus to come up on the deck, and you've been able to actually steer the ship and feel how it handles and so on. And he's come and gone, like when he needed to give somebody better direction on how to do something. Then he comes back up and he's talking to you, and he's quizzing you about your trip through the gnome hold and on to Geoff. And he asks you, he says, so what takes you to Geoff? It's not that common for elves to travel to Geoff. Why are you going there?
I'm on a quest for my father.
Something dangerous? You all have weapons. Something mercantile? You're selling something? You don't have a lot of baggage.
No.
What's it all about?
It's very secret.
Ah.
I swore not to say anything.
Very well.
But you can trust us.
That is hard for me to trust you when you are so secretive.
Yes, but I gave my word.
I understand. You
My
are a
word is
person.
my bond.
You are a person of integrity.
Yes, sir.
A young elven maiden such as yourself, thusly equipped. How did you come to be in Celeste with no way of escape? Were you on that ship that fled at the crack of the storm? That was an elven vessel.
I don't remember if I was on there.
Yeah, that's how you guys got found.
Yes.
Why did they leave you behind?
I'm not sure of that. I'm on there.
Peculiar.
Yes.
Peculiar. Well, I won't leave you behind.
Thank you. I think we can build a very good friendship.
Well, I have a planned docking in the gnome hold already, and it's easy enough to make the way from there on to the western shores of Geoff. And but you'll have to travel by land for close to 500 miles if you're going to the capital. That's some journey you're on.
Yes, we are on a quest.
And you can imagine that this boat does not travel on land.
No.
Oh, man. I could change that. I just want to have the right Nick back.
No, I'm just on a quest.
He says, lunchtime. To the galley with ye.
Sure.
Fix us up something to eat. You should have plenty of meat, spices, bread, and wine. Lots of wine.
No ale.
No ale. That's more of a human beverage on the sea.
Okay. I'm fine with wine.
Wine helps with sunburn and other tropical illnesses. He looks at Lotus and says,
Making my way to the kitchen.
can you handle this for a while, and I'll go below, and I'll come back up in an hour or so and take a turn?
Yep.
Just don't hit any of these large ships out here. It shouldn't be that hard.
I'll try my best.
All right. Okay. So he heads below deck. I take it you're heading below deck. The elven ladies probably store all the Anne and Iris probably. Oh, not Anne. I'm sorry. Hibiscus and Iris probably store their gear in the cabin that the elven ladies. So you realize, like, if all three of you are sleeping in there, basically the only thing you're going to do is put the gear on the floor and use hammocks. And so you can string a few hammocks for the three of you, and assuming you're all going to try to sleep at night, for example. But it's big enough to do that. So all of your extra belongings, like it's in your extra packs, extra bags, all kind of stuff, can be stored in that room. So if you need to get it later, that's where it's at. And then
can I offer boarding for Hannah as well? I don't think she'll fit.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really tight if all four of you sleep at the same time. Depends how friendly you want to be.
I guess I did. Or she can probably stay up during the night.
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
Yeah, because we're ladies, so,
To offer it to her?
yeah.
Okay, so she offers you to sleep in the same cabin with them. It's the only enclosed space. Everything else is like a big cargo hold or on the deck or whatever like that. Does that work for you, even though it's going to be kind of tight quarters? Okay, so she moves her stuff in there as well. While that's going on, it's only been about 15 minutes and you're navigating out. There's this ring of ships, larger ships that are sitting at anchor, and you're just going to kind of weave between them. And then he said, once you get past those ships, just kind of take a lazy right and stay on toward the sun, because the gnome hole is to the east.
Okay.
Okay? And, or toward the sunrise, which is now, the sun's high in the sky now. Anyway, as you're coming to that kind of ring of ships, you notice that the ship nearest to the left, which is a couple hundred yards away, it is a larger warship. So it is 5 or 6 times as large as the smaller vessel that you're on. This vessel that you're on will hold about 60 tons of cargo. You know, you've seen the elves construct similar, but much nicer, you know, much more artistic versions of this same vessel. And that ship would hold about 400 tons of cargo. And it's not sitting particularly heavy in the water. You can see like the mark of the water line, and there's about like 8 feet. So it's sitting pretty light. And you see up on the bow of that ship, somebody looking through a telescope. And you've seen a telescope before. They're hand scopes, right? Technology that the elves have. And it definitely is looking at your ship, the ship that you're on. Okay? And you notice that the people on the boat are pretty active. Like there's a lot of rushing around. You hear a bosun's whistle and people shouting. And it looks like they're trying to get underway. At that point, you just as planned, you easily pass that vessel. But then as you pass that vessel, you see the anchor on the backside of that ship is now up out of the water. And it's made sail, and it appears as if it's going to pursue the boat that you're on. And so you take the turn as previously projected, but the wind is out of the northeast. And so on that footing, you're not going very fast, okay? And then the ship turns on and is beginning to pursue you at about 200 to 300 yards. They haven't tried to attack or anything, but it looks like they're following your course. Are you doing anything other than just keeping the course?
Is there any way I can do like a shield over the boat? Or no?
It's not. You don't have anything that's big enough.
Oh, sorry.
So your shield would protect you from like missile fire, like bows and arrows, but it's not going to protect the ship. The ship is too big.
Can I call someone to keep an eye?
Sure. Do you want to have somebody summon the gnome or get one of the party members or what?
Probably the gnome.
Okay. So she looks at Hibiscus and says, go get the gnome.
Okay.
All right. So you head downstairs. It's just one flight of stairs down into a tiny little hallway, ends in a door. That's where his cabin is. Knock. He says, who's at the door?
What is it?
Answer.
Biscuits.
You say Hibiscus? He says, what do you want?
Am I close enough to hear?
The galley is located in the complete opposite end of the
So I
ship.
sent you down there to get him.
My sister sent me down here to get you.
Okay, I'll be up in a minute. Tell her I'll be up in a minute. Okay, you go back up the steps, you go back to she's standing at the whipstaff, and you say,
You said he'll be up in a minute.
Tell him this is urgent.
I gotta walk all the way back down there.
I mean, it's like 30 feet, so it's not that far, really. So, okay, you go back down the steps and down the steps into the little hallway. As you get down, you're reaching about the steps, he opens the door, and you're face to face with him.
Don't kiss him.
He
Are
says,
you gonna tell him?
did you tell her I'd be there in a minute?
Yes.
And,
She said it's urgent. Please do know.
all right, well, let's go. So you go back up the steps. Okay, are you going back onto the poop deck where she's at?
Yeah.
All right. He comes up the steps as well. And as he comes up, as you come up the steps and he's coming up, you both see a large warship that is pursuing you. Only a couple hundred yards away. And you feel like you're creeping. I mean, it's a square rigged ship. It's a square ship, square sail. And the sail looks like it's not really even filling with wind very much at all. It's just kind of fluffing in the air. And the ship is going forward, but it's not going forward very fast at all. like slower than a walk pace. He says, what do you suppose they want?
I think
Fugitive elven ladies?
I think they're coming to try to take over the ship and capture us.
This is unexpected.
But I have this precious cargo, so I believe we're after it.
Hi. All right. We're going to have to rig.
Do you have any cannons?
No. Cannons. My cousin has a cannon.
Oh, your cousin isn't going to do no good right now?
No, he's not here. He sails off the northern coast of the Gnome Hold.
Do you have any kind of
It goes
special ability?
boom like that. It makes a lot of smoke. The good news is they don't have any cannons either. Otherwise, they'd already be shooting at us.
Wow.
We're going to need to keep at least a couple 100 yards ahead of them. It looks square rigged. Let's rig a triangular sail. I've got a yard. We'll rig a sail, and it'll give us a little bit more. We can adjust it to the wind. Where's that big guy? Oh, there you are. Come with me. We got to get a mast out of the hold. Any of you good with ropes? Did I ask that before?
I have rope.
Rope use? Oh, good. You can help me. Well, we're gonna rig a mast, a yard coming off the main mast that'll adjust for the wind. It should get us going a little faster. I've done it before.
I saw it. Oh, I have
You have rope in your equipment.
50
Okay.
rope.
But you have sailing, so you understand basically how ships are rigged. You know how to tie knots on ships. It wouldn't necessarily help you like elsewhere in the world, but on ships you're pretty good.
Is this grappling hook?
Yeah, a grappling hook. Yeah.
That's
So-
G.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're okay. Part of the fun is puzzling out my handwriting. Okay, so the two of you go into the dark hold. You pass where the hammocks are hidden, and then there's a lower area in the hold, and there are several long, like mast, yard, basically pieces of wood that are
My wife needs a card to pay.
6 inches in diameter. Okay. So he says, grab that end, and you grab it. You can see there's a bracket on the end of it. Looks like it'll mount around it. He grabs the front. The two of you work it up the stairs. It isn't easy to take it up the stairs. You have to kind of angle it around the corner and so on. So roll percentile dice, Chris. You want a low number.
These two?
Yep. Rolling against Ben Barr's lift gates.
43.
Okay. What is your normal chance? You have double your normal chance. So it's the last thing on the strength line. It should say BBLG.
No, it's the last thing
on
on the strength line. It's 35%.
Yep. So you have 70%, so you made it. And he made it as well. So the two of you have no trouble getting it up. Getting up the stairs and laying it across the front of the poop deck. And then you get up, and you can see it looks like there's a worn spot on the main mast where this was there before. And then he shimmies up the pole, and he's pounding in a rivet and so on. And then as he's doing that, he says, in that locker there near you is a sail that'll fit this. Let's hoist it up. Let's go. All right. So you get the sail out. He's talking to Lotus. He was pointing to Lotus. There's a locker right near where you're standing. Yep. So you get the sail out. You don't have to roll. You open the chest. There's a sail in there. Haul it out. It's got to be put on the yard. And then the ropes have to be strung for it to be laced to pulled up. And meanwhile, you can see that the ship behind you is not running its main mast because it's a square rigged ship, but it has what are called togallants, which are long, thin, streaming sails on the ends, and it's running togallants, and it's getting more speed, and so it's started to close the distance. It's probably like about 170 yards now. Still pretty far, but if they had a ballista or a catapult or something, you're starting to get within range, or bow fire even. It is pretty windy outside, so those of you who do missile fire think it would not go very well. Okay?
Especially at that distance.
Yep. So the triangle mast is rigged, and so on. So roll a d20 for me, Holly, if you would.
This one?
Yep.
What's the biggest thing?
This one?
Yep. Same, but you want a low number this time.
8.
8. Okay. All right. So as you get the sail out and you hand it up to him. You have to kind of stand up on the rail, hand it up to him. He gets it stretched on there. It's got a rope attached to it. It's got to be strung up to the top. He shimmies up to the top and attaches it. It's all getting in place. As he's doing that, you notice that on the rail right there in front of where you were standing to operate the whip staff are 4 rings very similar to the one that you got from your dad. They look identical in size and construction. They're not being used for anything. They're just mounted on the rail, and they don't look to be nearly as nice as the ones that you got from your dad. So you knew that these 4 things that he gave you were used on a ship, but didn't know for sure what they were used for. This ship has those same 4 rings on it, but they're not being used. They're just on the rail.
I'm just gonna take them.
They're attached, and you'd have to pry them off.
Oh.
You could possibly do that, but it would take some time. You might probably want to wait until he's not around.
You could also ask what they're used for.
That's true. The rings that you have that he gave you, you did think it was quizzical because you know sailing well. Your dad has always been in that business ever since you were a child.
Yeah.
He taught you to basically
He's
run
a
it.
boat maker.
Yeah, he's a boat maker. They say you've sailed almost every day of your life, which is like 100 years, right? So you've sailed every day. So you've sailed 36,500 times you've been out sailing.
Yeah.
You know sailing, all right? That being said, you don't know where those parts are for. And even on this boat, there's one there, and then like 3 feet, there's another one, 3 feet, there's another one, 3 feet, there's another one. And there doesn't appear to be any purpose for them. There's no line strung through them. It would look like a rope could go through, but there's no reason to put a rope there. So it's mysterious, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay? And they look the same size, everything as the 4 that you have, but the 4 that you have are much nicer.
Is he around?
Yes, he's coming up on the poop deck now after having rigged that sail.
So what are these rings used for?
He walks over and he fondles the ring that's closer to the stairs already, rubs it, and he kind of polishes it a little bit. And he says, just a little bit of something special she's got in her. But they haven't worked in years.
Oh.
He looks back at the warship and he says, if they did, we wouldn't be in the problem we're in right now. I'll steer for now if you want.
Would you rather have switch out with older rings?
I'm sorry?
Like older rings that's been used before?
Rings like this? I doubt there's 4 more like them in the world.
Oh. Just carries on out the way.
Okay.
I didn't say nothing.
All right, so with the triangle sail rig now, you're able to turn, like he's able to turn across the wind even and keep his speed up, and because that arm swings way out, it'll actually pick up the wind, and you start to make distance, and it's going to take a while, but probably by nightfall, you'll be far enough out of reach that you should be able to lose them in the dark. Okay? And there really isn't anything they can do about it if they do pursue you. So at one point he tosses the log. So there's a rope with knots in it, and you throw the log over the back, and then you let it play out, and then you count a certain amount of time, like 30 seconds, and then you count the number of knots, and that tells you how fast you're going. So that's how they measure. They don't have speedometers, obviously. All right, so he throws a log. He goes, okay, well, we're making 8 knots. That's pretty good. They're definitely falling behind now. And then, so at 8 knots, 10 hours, you've sailed due east about 80 miles. Interested in giving financially to Low Moon and support the campaign? Text LMGIVE, that's LMGIVE, to 419-419-0095. So you're making pretty good ground, and they pursue you that whole time, even though it's obviously futile, they're not going to catch you. Okay? I assume you made whatever you could, even though you're not technically skilled. Okay. He doesn't complain. Everyone's able to eat. Your non-real hit points are way back now, so you're only down 1 hit point instead of the 5 or whatever.
So you're down 6.
So you're at 6 instead of. Right. Did you want to do healing? Do you have a heal spell still in memory? Do you want to do it on yourself or somebody else who's injured?
I'm gonna do it on myself since I only have one hit point.
All right, yeah. Okay, so roll a d8.
But one side.
That one, yep, that's the one.
I got a 7.
Nice. Okay, so what is your normal max hit points?
I think it was. Oh wait, I removed it. I think it was 6 though.
Okay, so you're back at 6. And then you want to, under hit points, write that number, and then don't change that number, just write your wounds over to the right. So you always remember how many your max are.
So I put 6 here?
No, under hit points.
Okay.
Yeah, right there, put 6. And then just leave that there, and then put your wounds over to the right so you always know
Okay.
where you're at. So you're back at 6, you're fully healed. You don't feel sore, you don't have a bruise, nothing. You look perfectly normal.
So we're going off of when we fought the assassins, still
Yep.
the same.
Yep, everything's still the same. Now, once you sleep overnight, you'll be able, if somebody's going to be healing, you'll get 2 hit points every night that you sleep, as long as you sleep at least 6 hours. And then plus they'll get more cure lights. Okay? All right, so
We'll leave your shoulder.
so when she just got the card, was she just ordering it, or?
She ordered it.
Okay, so she just ordered
Yeah.
it. Okay,
Well, a little bit ago.
okay.
Yeah.
When she got the card. This is like this. I'm trying to determine how close we are to actually getting meat. It's going to be a little bit. Okay. All right. So things are going to pick up pace. So stick with me. All right. You sail the remainder of that day. He makes the food a couple more times. No one thinks he's that great of a cook, but he's able to just basically get the meat cooked through so it's not raw, that kind of
I
thing.
think so.
Everyone can have wine for free. You find out that he's got huge casks of wine below deck, enough that everyone could drink a quart of wine a day and you wouldn't touch
At
it.
some point, while we're all sitting down and eating, I pulled these little wooden figures out that I
Okay.
hand carved,
Yep.
and I give one to each of them.
Okay. All right, so everyone can note on your equipment that you have little hand-carved wooden figures. What are they figures of?
Just
where?
random animals.
Animals.
Good.
Somewhere, wherever you want to keep track of that. In your backpack, in a pouch, anywhere you want.
They're only
What
like
are they called?
they're only like 2 inch
Wooden figurine.
tall.
2-inch tall wooden figurine.
They're just random animals.
Well, yeah. So if they're just random animals, you probably tell them what animal each one of them got.
You pick an animal.
Okay, pick an animal.
Tiger.
There you go.
All right. Okay. So throughout the remainder of the day, that happens. If there's anything anybody wants to talk about, it would be plenty of time to talk. Toe has some questions about what's going on and why you were being killed, and you don't have any answers. You don't know why people were trying to kill you. It turns out that he's perfectly happy going to the gnome hold. He's been there before. He is a friend to gnomes. He is not so much a friend to elves, but he doesn't say anything negative. So he does eat a lot and drink a lot of wine. Okay? Raylan sleeps the day away. He is beat to snot and sleeps all day long. So no one. Now we've used up all of our cure lights. Is that correct?
No, I have 2.
You have 2 more left.
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably want to find people that are hurt and cast them on them during that time.
Probably Raylan for sure.
Basically, once you cast them, because you've had a very active day, you could go to sleep 4 hours, get up, and get them back.
I would do Raylan.
Yeah, he's still down 10 hit points total. So
I can do him.
okay, roll a d8.
This?
Yep.
I got an 8.
Nice. Okay, he is feeling much better. So now he's down 2. So here's the other thing. Every time a cleric rolls a healing spell or any spell that uses a d8, you're going to get an idea. I'll give you a number of how well you're doing following your god or your deity that you follow. Okay? So as you're playing your character, you want to think about like what my God would want me to do, just like we do as Christians. We think about what God would want us to do, and then that will affect your number as far as your dice goes. So basically, if your number is a 1, that means the minimum you can roll on the dice is a 1, which is the minimum that the dice generates. So that's right down the middle. If the number is negative, like -1, then your dice will go down. So you won't be able to get 8 anymore. You'll only be able to get 7. And if it'll be -2, it'll go down, and the max you'll be able to get is 6. like that. But if it's a 2, if you roll a 1, it becomes a 2. If it's a 3, if you roll a 1, it becomes a 3, like that.
I can probably use it anyway.
Yeah, so Lotus is also still pretty beat up if you want to give her a cure light.
Okay. I got a 4.
Okay, so you get 4 back, right? So right now your number is a 1, which means you're doing fine, but you're not doing anything great as far as your
So you're
god is
at
concerned.
6 now.
Who is your deity again?
The what?
At 7, and I'm.
Who is your cleric a cleric of? It should say deity right there on the upper right hand side somewhere, hopefully.
Yeah, so you're only 1 hit point.
Oh,
Or just let me see the sheet for a second. I think I might have wrote it on the other page.
So what would it be at?
Okay, so you follow Golan
Your
Bursty.
max hit point is 70.
Golan
You're only-
Bursty.
You're at 6.
He's a
So you're
Norse,
barely injured
so
at
think
all.
like
Okay.
So that means
fighting,
if we sleep for a night, you'll get 2
think
hit
like,
points, so you'll be back to full.
Viking or barbarian type.
Yeah, she can use
God,
it on him.
And
Oh,
I'm at
wait,
2.
he needs to stop, not me. I'm sorry.
So
Oh,
he can get the.
he needs it
You
not her.
got
Yeah,
yours back
I-
from the fight, so
I
you're at
guess-
6.
Yeah, I'm at 6. I don't
Oh yeah, you're fine.
understand, but
You're fine.
he needs it.
so
Yeah.
does he get
So he
4
gets
back?
4. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm up to 6.
Okay.
And then once we
So
sleep-
I'll get, between sessions, I'll give you a little bit more information about Golan Bursty, but just right now, just think fighting and rabble rousing, drinking, partying, that kind of thing, okay? And you did that well enough during the fight that actually I'll say your number is a 2, because you stepped in to protect Raylan in the first
I just
fight,
got healed.
and then you charged in the second fight, in the first fight you charged in, so your number's actually a 2. So if you'd have rolled a 1, you would have got a 2. So you've been doing a good job of following your DD at this point, because of your fightiness. Okay?
fighting this.
Yep. And a fight in a bar is always good for Norse people. Like, you can't go wrong with that.
I
So,
already used the bathroom.
go ahead.
Save your life to do
Okay,
a bar fight.
so throughout that day, it would be, yes.
Christian Game seems to pay for the pizza.
Oh, thank you very much.
Just work it out with the receipt and stuff.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have fun.
So now I still owe you all food.
Bye.
Look at that, dude. 2 free meals instead of 1. Is that nice? Free food is the best kind of food.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it's tasty. Like, sometimes you go get free food and it's like, "Bleh, this is not food." Like if it was made out of avocados, for example. Okay, anyway, so during that time, the clerics can all sleep during the day 4 hours and get their spells back. So we'll do that, let them choose that. If you're only down 1 point, how many are you down now? 3 still. So probably 1 more cure light on you would be good, because otherwise tomorrow morning you won't be at full. Natalie, do you want to cast a cure light on Nick after you sleep? Go ahead and roll a d8, since you're the only person actually here who's a cleric at the moment. Yep. Just roll at least 3.
2.
2, okay. So you have 2, so you're only down 1. In the morning, you'll be perfectly normal.
Okay, so I'm up to
Which
8.
technically, you could go to bed now
You just
and get 6 hours sleep and get it back. Because you definitely had an active day already. Okay? All right.
You beat him, guys, with 2 hit points.
So my character has a book that he reads,
Okay.
but it's in a language he doesn't understand. So
Okay.
he just pretends like he's reading it.
Okay.
I think I have
Things that I have.
language.
Okay. Yep. So he'll never. They won't know unless something comes up. Do you need a language for it to be in that you don't know?
So I know Common,
Just put it in ancient Geopian.
Ancient Geometry, okay.
Yeah. Because there's still stuff like that floating around, which means at some point in time you may figure out what's in the book and it might actually be of value. But at the
It
moment,
was something he had taken from someone a while back.
I stole it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it looked interesting.
So basically, he's probably trying to puzzle out what it says, because eventually you'll be able to read languages as a thief. So you basically use
Yeah, I
it
think
for
that's
advanced
4.
training.
I think that's
Yeah.
4.
Yep. So cool. It's an uncommon language, but there are still stuff around. All right. So anyway, you guys can re-choose your spells. You can take the same spells or different spells because you're asleep for 4 hours. Yep. You get the same number of spells. It should be like if you have an 18 wisdom, you get 3. 17 wisdom gets 2. 16 is 1.
So I get 3.
So
I get
Hannah,
my
you can
3.
re-choose your spells. You can take the same ones or different. So what spells did you have before? This was the list you took last time. So now you can switch them, is what I'm saying. So you can go on your list and look right here. So for example, you're going to be traveling on the ocean or the sea now, which means this is probably not going to be useful.
How many
You might want to
cantrips
replace
do I
that
do?
with something else. So cantrips are, you have to replace your first level spells to get them. So for every first level spell you don't memorize, you get 4 cantrips. That's how cantrips work. You don't get any free cantrips unless you have some kind of special ability. So for example, this might be useful. This might be useful. This is a good offensive spell. Basically tell them one word and they have to do what you say. If they're low enough level, they don't even get a save, but if they're higher, then they get a save. So that's a good one. Bless, affection, took that one before. That's one that gives you whole party bonuses. This is healing. You could take this. It's cool where you're going, but it may not be necessary. That makes light, obviously. This makes it rain.
Make it rain!
Okay. So you take that instead of that. Magic Stone will always be a potential blessing for you because of your sling, so that's always going to have some advantage. But you could change that trade out for healing if you want, because healing is always useful.
These are card spells.
It's probable that you're not going to do much fighting on ship, but you never know. You could run into pirates or something like that.
Word spells.
Okay. And then even after you got the 4 hours sleep and got that cure light back and cast it on Nick, you could still get that back before anything else is going to happen. So make sure you have, Natalie, make sure you have your full allotment. That makes sense? So how many do you get? Your wisdom is 16, so you get 3. So these, you have 3 down there, is that what you put? So you can take the same 3 if you want, or if there's something else on the list you want to just try out, you can do that. The one that's on there that your guys will overlook is Sanctuary, and I'll just remind you what that does. Sanctuary makes it, like if you're in combat, if you cast Sanctuary on yourself or somebody else, whoever you cast it on, in order for somebody to attack them, they have to make a saving throw versus spell. So it's designed to make everybody ignore you. So it's useful defensively, basically. But again, you're not going to be fighting. So always,
This is such an awesome cantrip.
as you're picking your spells, you're always trying to figure out what will likely happen next. That's what you're trying to do. How do I be ready for what's coming next?
That could be devastating in combat.
All right.
Allow someone to blink.
Okay, so did we have it correct that Lotus is the only one who has sailing?
Yep.
Okay, everyone else needs to roll a d20 and check versus your constitution.
So I have 2 sisters. We have the same dad, right?
You have the same dad, that's
So
right,
they didn't,
but not
we
the
didn't
same
teach
mom.
them how to sail?
No. So your current mom was the one who owned the sailing business. Prior to him marrying her, he was kind of a wandering spirit. He never really had a purpose in life. He married a lot of women, made a lot of babies, but he didn't
Oh,
really
then yeah, you're fine.
contribute anything.
On any kind of
When he
like
started marrying
check,
her, they got really heavily into the sailing business,
lower.
and you were kind of his
So
pride and joy.
your saving throws, like your save was
In theory,
poison, spell you want to be
you could
higher.
take over the business theoretically.
Okay.
Pretty much every
That was
save
kind of the
is
plan.
higher
I have
except
plans
going
on
at
killing
that.
my
So you have
Well, I
an
do.
18 con,
You have to output on
and you have to
these.
roll a 19.
If he did, I mean, you don't know if he did for sure.
What?
That's on the board.
What
The jacket.
You just made it.
They're hot chocolate.
It's just hot water,
Oh,
and then there's packets in the kitchen, I don't know if there's anything.
I don't know. There's coffee made. She said she's gonna leave it. I don't want to drink it. I don't drink coffee though.
I just read the description for the blink cantrip.
Mm-hmm.
That is hilarious.
Make somebody blink.
Yeah.
There's a number of person affecting cantrips that are comical.
Can you imagine somebody in the middle of swinging a sword and make them blink?
Or casting a spell.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I don't make them lose the spell. It could.
Yep, if they fail their saving throw. Okay, all right. So basically what I'm saying is we're fast forwarding. He's cooking the meals, not a great cook. You're serving on the ship, but there isn't much to do during the sailing. Lotus and the cuss take turns on the whipstaff. Anybody else wants to learn how to do it, he's more than willing to let you stand there and hold it. Basically, you just got to don't veer off course, continue straight, and you can feel it. It's almost like if you if you veer off course slightly, the ship just tips slightly in one direction or the other, and that's how you can tell you're changing course. As far as you can tell, the only cargo that is aboard is wine. So he's got dozens of barrels of wine below deck. It is more than 8 people, 9 people now could ever consume in a trip, and so it's probable that he's selling it. That's his cargo, basically. Okay? You sail all throughout that day. Eventually, the sun is setting in the far west. It is beautiful. 1,000,000 stars, more stars than you see a lot of stars in the Thrice Moon Protectorate, but more stars than you've ever seen in your life. You're in the northern hemisphere, and just the sky is stars all the way across. In fact, look from your perspective, there is not a millimeter between stars. There's just so many stars. And there's no clouds whatsoever. The wind is blowing constantly, so the whole time you're outside, it's kind of loud, and it's really tiring after a while. You could get windburned if you don't protect yourself, that kind of thing. This is all something you're used to. You can handle it, no problem. And you do see other ships, but nothing comes close to you. Okay? Then overnight, and he basically tells you he'll take the whipstaff all night long, and then the next day you can trade off again, so you can get a full night's sleep. Okay? Overnight you would heal back 2 hit points. Did anyone fail their Constitution check? So you rolled D20 equal to or less than your Constitution. Anyone roll over it? What did you roll?
17.
Yeah, you probably failed it. What's your Constitution? Look on your Constitution on your character sheet. What is your Constitution?
CON.
Should be the 3rd one down, I think.
What's your con? CON. What's yours?
Haley, what is your con?
Oh, mine's 11.
So you failed it. Hannah, what is your con?
There's a 7. She rolled a 20.
You definitely failed it. Okay.
Mine's 16 and I wrote 8.
You're fine.
I'm good.
Nick's
11, and I'm.
Yeah, you're fine. Nick's a tank. And then yours is 11 also. And what'd you roll?
14.
Okay. But you have sailing, so you're fine. Okay. You have sea legs, so you guys don't have to make that check technically. All right. So those of you who failed it are basically seasick. Okay. Your stomach feels queasy. You don't feel like eating. It's like the flu without the fever or body aches. Okay. As long as you're in your hammock, it mostly goes away because the hammock sways with the boat, and it's almost like being on solid ground. So you spend the latter part of that day and all night in your hammock, resting and getting over being seasick. Okay? So basically means it only leaves Hibiscus, Umbar, Nick, Lotus, Raylan, and Toe are all both fine. So there are 6 of you that are up and about. The 2 of them are basically confined to bed. Okay? As long as you stay in your hammock, you're not throwing up, which is good.
Try not to lose the wine.
Overnight, the night passes uneventfully. You didn't even see any ships all night long. Or if you saw anything, he never mentioned it. Okay? Is anyone staying up overnight? Everyone got 4 hours sleep during the day. Not the 2 of you, obviously. You're in bed. You stay up. Okay. What about Hibiscus? So you can sleep normal, go to bed. Okay. Umbar?
I'll sleep for a little while.
Sleep like another 4 hours, so you got a full night's sleep, and then be up at like 2 to dawn. Okay, that's fine. Right?
Well, I have to stay up. Or no, he took over. Right?
He took over. Yeah, you can go to bed. Now, in theory, so gnomes are a very hardy stock, and you know that they're a lot like dwarves. So he probably can go on 4 to 5 hours sleep. And that's true for Umbar as well. You could probably go on 4 or 5 hours sleep, but realize that you need sleep to get your spells back. So your patterns. Okay. Same thing with you. In order for you to change your spells out, you got to get 4 hours sleep, but you only get 1, 2. How many spells do you get? Mage spells?
This says, so it says spells first, and it's 2 in parentheses.
Right, so you get 2.
Sleep. And then, is that missile?
Magic missile. So sleep is the one you cast. That's the one that puts everybody to sleep. Magic missile makes an energy dart, almost like a short laser that will literally pierce people and do damage, or you can like do a bowstring or a cup. And
That
then,
magic, read magic, and then shield.
right, so those are the full list of what you know, and the two that you had marked, you had in memory, but you cast your sleep spell. So after you get some sleep, you spend 15 minutes and get it back, or you can get something else if you want, but I would go with sleep spell.
I got that and shield checked off,
So now you have, you get 2, right?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah, so pick any
2
2,
right, or-
or 2 of the same one if you want. So like you can get, you had sleep and shield previously, you can get those same 2 again, or you can try something different if you want. Sleep is probably the best first level offensive spell there is
Okay,
in the game in general. So I would probably take a sleep. You could take 2, you could take sleep and magic missile, you could take sleep and shield.
Oh, dude, you got a sleep.
You don't really need
That is
magic
awesome.
or read magic.
And she put in the thing, she put,
I haven't
because you
used
were,
this
when
one.
she put the
Yeah.
guy at the
Is
door
that
to sleep, I
better?
think.
It's definitely not
They
better
cut
than
it
sleep
out.
offensively.
What is her spell?
Yeah, I'm saying sleep is definitely the best of this list.
Okay, so I can do two sleep.
You could, if you want it, but you'd be all offensive if you do that. Would be all offensive.
I don't know about that. I think the shield they kind of protect us.
Yeah, I think the shield has advantages. I think I would probably do both.
I'll just move it, reset.
Remember too that another thing to take, you are a strong warrior.
Okay.
So your bow and your weapons are always gonna help you out with that.
Yeah.
So later, when you need other spells and stuff, you can kind of tip toward the miscellaneous and defensive magic because you're always gonna be a powerful warrior.
Okay.
Check out The Moment Blood Bowl wherever you buy books. This is written by Pastor Daniel Stevenson, the longtime author and game master of Low Moon Adventures.
Mind you, right now you're first level, so it's going to build up over time exactly how tough you're going to be, but you're always going to have the longbow, for example, is always going to be, longbow is like the best missile weapon in the game.
Okay.
So you're always going to have that offensive capability. Okay. All right.
I can't get like a healing.
No, mages
Once I
don't do that.
I was gonna say once I level up.
You could learn to do like the first aid type healing, like what Haley has, right? Is that
Well,
right, the healing?
yeah.
Yeah. So you could learn that, but
It won't
it
be
would
as
take
good.
time. It would take time, is all. And you have to, so you get new skills every so many levels, and then you have to train for them to learn what they are.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty, so here we go. Overnight goes on eventfully. The sun comes up. It is a beautiful orange-yellow sunrise. Anne and Iris remake their con checks. See if you're no longer seasick. Both of you roll a d20.
You guys
Compare it to con. This could be a problem for Anne because she doesn't have much con.
I got an 8.
Okay, you're fine. So Iris is over her seasickness.
I got a 5.
You're over yours as well. Okay, so nobody is seasick now. Everybody's
Nobody's puking on the
feeling
bed.
normal. And you're hungry because you gave up all the food you ate yesterday.
So if I have onion, can I give it some flavor with it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And he doesn't have much in the way of fresh vegetables. He just had meat,
I have meat.
bread, potatoes, and wine. That's all he had. So the onion will help. It'll
I
add.
have meat,
Something.
Yeah. So if
meat
you.
and apples.
Yep. Also, if you look on your character sheet, if you have actual food, then it will spoil. Just like so, those apples are only you carry them around. They're only going to be good for at most a week.
Okay, I'll just give him that.
I just have a couple days of rations.
So you
That's
can
it.
I'll
mark
give him
that
the
on.
onions too.
Yep, so you can contribute your fresh food to the
Rations are good for a while.
cook.
They're good for a long time.
Yeah, iron rations are virtually indefinite.
What is it?
I have spices.
Salted meat,
Salt.
Oh,
dried crackers. It's not very tasty, but it never goes bad. When it says iron rations, that never goes bad.
I would keep that.
Yeah, you don't want to get rid of that.
I got 3 meals or whatever.
Yeah, so the 3 meals are fresh meals. So again, they're only going to be good for about a week. So you can eat them now, you can contribute them to the cook, and he can add it to make a little more variety.
There you go. I'll give them to.
Okay, so
I
3
have
fresh meals.
spices
I have them too.
Okay, so you can contribute those as well.
and salt.
So do I take
If you
these
give
off?
it up, you mark it off. Yep. If you're giving it up, you mark it off.
And I'll keep it.
You can always buy more later, and they're not even very expensive. You just gotta find them.
Ruh-roh.
I'll give them some
Unlike
spices.
somebody's man.
No, we don't need it.
worsen.
What is with this language, Jonah?
What does anatomy do?
Anatomy?
Yeah.
So, anatomy is really good because it'll help, for one, it'll help you be able to bandage wounds better. You'll know what to do. It also, you backstab.
Yeah.
Yes, they're.
So with backstab, you double your damage. When you have anatomy, you get to add another
Is there one like in there
multiplier.
that you can?
In the
Okay.
kitchen.
So if you roll, say you roll a 3 on your damage for your
I
backstab,
forgot.
it doubles to 6, but then with anatomy,
Used it
it then becomes 9.
Used to be on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did see it in there.
Holly, you wanna grab some plates while you're in there? Cause the pizza will be coming.
Should be here pretty soon.
I got leather, pallets, sewing.
I just read the description for Mirage, that's pretty cool too.
For what?
The Mirage cantrip.
Powder
That's one, Two Delusion and Mirage are the best.
Yeah.
First level.
I was just trying to find the 2D illusion one to see what that said.
Basically, it makes, you can make anything just like you can with Phantasmal Force, but it makes it two-dimensional, so they only see it if they're looking at it from the front.
Oh, okay.
So it's not gonna be useful for like an offensive attack or anything like that, but you can make a door, a wall, you can make a chair, anything that they would believe if they see it from the front. And it doesn't have sound or heat. Same as Phantasmal Force. But if you can, it's harder, but if you can believe it, you can still make it real. So, which would be really weird. Have a two-dimensional cup.
Two-dimensional cup.
It's like a shrinky dink. It's like oversized shrinky dink. All right, anyway.
But your cup is
The
flat.
sun is up, everyone's feeling better, you're able to get out on deck, the fresh air, and
I'm not sure.
you stayed up all night?
Yeah.
Now you can get a nap if you want. All right, checking to see if anything else happens. Nope. You guys are having the easiest crossing from Celeste to the Gnome Hold ever.
How long does that take?
2 to 3 days. And you're in the second day of it now. Okay? So, throughout that day, you eat meals, you heal. Okay, so if you're a weapons specialist, which would not apply to any of you guys, you have to train. Hannah, does your shield skill require training? Look under where, down at the bottom. Remember you have that special ability with the shield? Oh, no, it might say 1 hour of training a day. I'm a cutter. Shield, you double defense.
You're double specialized, right?
No, it doesn't say it requires training. So you can practice with your shield, but it's not required. So you have shield defense, which means every time somebody hits you, you subtract 1 from their damage.
I'm pretty sure you're double
Don't let me
specialized.
forget that, okay? And then you can shield parry, which means when someone's trying to hit you, you can intentionally block it with your shield and make it -1 to hit.
I know I can use 2 guns at one time.
So those are
Well, you're
Not
very
sure
well.
exactly what I chose.
those are advantages that you have. The deity that you follow is a shield man. Skirnir is a shield man, that's what he does. So he protects people with his shield, and in particular, Thor, the god of thunder. Okay.
What do you want me to
Also,
turn
this is a
this
useful skill right here. Did you see this set? So she's a young politician, like you might be a governor someday or something like that. But she has diplomacy. That's like knowing how politics work, bureaucracy. That's knowing how the rules work in different areas and stuff. So that's how you could have known about the law that if you kill somebody with a weapon and they're unarmed, it counts as murder. Etiquette, so you know what to do, what's the right thing, how to act in a social situation. Seduction, that means you can get men to like you. And negotiation means being able to like get a good deal, basically.
I'm trying to remember feels like the bones are just.
You speak all of these other languages as well, but you only speak them at 8 or less on a D20, which means if you want to understand what they're saying, you can put these dice and roll under 8.
Feels like my
Yeah,
shin
these
bone
extra
is just
languages.
like being dead the whole time.
Ooh.
That's why I put my leg up
Also-
here, and then when I was sitting there with it up there, it started hurting. So it's like I'll be moving back and forth repeatedly.
I get real, my legs get really achy at night. I have really bad restless leg syndrome. Like I'll be fine all day and then I'll go to lay down and get comfortable for bed. My legs will just start aching.
Mine usually do that if I end up having bed too long. So just be like,
All right,
now I can't.
we're gonna go. We've got about 45 minutes. All right.
Taking a nap.
So the full day after the full day after you left port. So you're out of port the whole day, and then a whole nother day passes with no trouble. You see ships, they come and they go, not a problem. Okay? They don't hail you for news or interact or turn on to try to attack or anything like that. During that time, you've kept that triangle sail rig because the wind continues to be out of the northeast, and so you're not going very fast due east without that triangle sail. Okay? If the wind shifts around from behind, you think he'd probably take it down again like he did before. Because it is kind of in the way. It swings across the back deck. If you're not paying attention, it smack you in the head or that kind of thing. It's not normally there. Okay? At the end of that second full day, so now you've been out of port the whole rest of the first day and the whole next day, just about sunset, you see an island ahead. It's clearly an island. It's not huge. It's probably about 300 yards or so long. It is ahead and to the left. So those of your navigation or direction sense, you know that it's kind of north and it's east of you and north of your current position. Okay. He is on the whipstaff at the time, and he begins to direct the ship in toward the island. Okay. Also, by that time, through meals and just discussion, we're not going to play it out or whatever, you find out that since you got on board, you've had it wrong. The ship is called the Cuss. So he didn't correct you at the time, but you find out now that his name is Romatrix.
How the heck do you spell that?
Romatrix. Okay?
R-O what?
Romatrix. Okay? And basically what happened was you were in conversation and he was referring to the ship and he slipped and called it the Cuss. And you went, wait a minute, who? And he's like, and then that's when he let it out that it's actually the ship is called the Cuss. He is called Romatrix. Okay? Also,
I recognize that name at all?
Roll a d20. Versus charisma.
Huh?
Versus charisma.
Oh yeah, I made that.
Okay, so you remember while you were training under Winter, another student who was there, and he was an older gnome, kind of crotchety, walked with a stick, bent over almost all the time, and everybody used to call him Dodd, D-A-H-D. You don't actually know what his name was. Dodd in gnomish means it's like an affectionate term for a father that's not actually your father. Okay, and so everybody called him Dodd. And Dodd would sit late at night in front of the old fireplace in the grand hall that has a 60-foot high ceiling and nobody ever cleans up there. And occasionally people would say that they heard noises up in what would be like a belfry, basically. But nobody ever went up there, nobody ever cleaned up there, that kind of thing. And the 60-foot high ceiling room is a big fireplace. And he would sit in front of the fireplace and he would tell the younger gnomes stories. And he told a story about a man who was the brother of Romatrix. Okay? Not Romatrix, but the brother of Romatrix. And in the story, he alluded to the fact that no one would say the brother's name because he had become such a powerful warper of reality that he had made his name dangerous. And so the story is about this man, he's an evil gnome, I should say, who is the brother of Romatrix. And so what you know of him is he may have a brother who is nasty, evil, dangerous.
So he basically
but you don't know his name.
Is he posing as his brother? Or?
No, he just wasn't. He just didn't diffuse the notion. You guys were calling him the cuss, and he just let it go at the time.
But you said he was known as.
His name is
Dodd,
Romatrix.
right? He is known as Dodd.
No, the guy that told him the story was known as Dodd.
He would only know that information.
Yes, Dodd only, unless you share it, the only person that knows about Dodd is Umbar.
I will try to talk to him though and ask him a couple of questions about like just trying to poke to see what kind of information I can get.
Okay.
Basically just trying to use my wisdom to find out a little bit more without blatantly asking.
So he's known as evil.
His brother.
His brother.
Oh,
But
but
you don't know that
But
information.
only Umbar actually knows that information anyway, so. But you now know that Romatrix is his actual name. Everyone knows that. Okay? So yeah, during that period of time, you can try, do you have any applicable skills like negotiation or anything like that? Any applicable skills to try to trick him into giving up?
This might be the pizza. Hello. Yeah.
Tell him to go to Dulan.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. In the meantime, the ship is headed, the cuss is headed toward that small island. So what you see, it looks like it might be a volcanic island, or it's certainly pretty much the whole island is a mountain. And it's heavily forested. Dark green trees erupt out of every bit of the soil except the beach line. And he looks like he's headed straight for it. Anyone doing anything? Nope. Okay, so the ship gets to be about 100 yards offshore, and he gives the order to raise the sails, and the ship kind of drifts to a stop. And then he says, drop the kedge anchor. And an anchor is thrown over the side, the chain unfurls, ching, 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 down. And the anchor hits sand, and the ship comes to a stop. Can you get a couple of hot chocolate packets out of the kitchen?
Mr. Hart. You can't take that, that's his.
Kids love to play with cans. Okay, anyway.
See you in a little bit.
So, having stopped the ship, you've also noticed, by the way, during the journey that Romatrix, you now know his name is not very talkative and less engaged. Like, he doesn't just talk about things like commonplace things. He doesn't make small talk. Okay? And he has, as he's standing there, you now notice he has a sling bag on his back, and he walks over to the side rail facing the island, and he drops a block of wood that's about 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches in the water, and it forms a longboat. It goes, and a longboat appears in the water, and it kind of rocks.
That's all that's left in that box.
Okay, thank you. And the longboat will seat 12, so anybody or everybody could go. And he begins to lower some oars that are tucked against the rail there down into the boat. He's still not saying anything about what he's doing, but you realize if he leaves the boat...
I'll try to stop him before he actually gets off the boat.
Yeah, and we'll go back to the conversation again. I just don't want to delay it. So.
Might as well just wait till we're on the island.
Okay.
So what are we doing here?
I'm going to go up to my place. Won't take long.
You're familiar with this place?
This is my island.
Oh.
That makes sense.
Are we safe here?
Mind if I come with you?
If nobody comes.
Is there any food we could?
I've got better rations up in my place.
Are we allowed to follow?
I'll just hop in.
You can come.
Okay.
I'll just jump down in the boat.
Someone
He looks
should
at
stay by the
Raylan.
ship.
He looks at Raylan. He says, "You stay aboard. You kill anyone who tries to take my ship." Raylan says,
Yeah, he was holding his own.
"Sounds like a decent arrangement."
Okay.
Toad says, "I'll stay with you." And he's got a quarter cask of wine over his shoulder.
I'm sure.
Doesn't have a party.
He's carrying the cask of wine around. He puts the mug up. He opens the tap, fills the mug, and closes it.
Wow.
He's got a drinking problem.
He can hold it quite a bit.
It's only a drinking problem if it affects you. It affects him, but not much.
Is there anyone else on the island that you're aware of?
There's some natives, but they don't bother me.
Okay, are they like friendly with outsiders?
When you say this
No.
is your island,
But we don't go there.
when you say this is your island, what exactly do you mean by that?
I own this island. What's complicated about that?
What's the name of the island?
Okay.
I don't usually say its name. Let's just call it Tree Island.
Is it known on maps? Or is it just a deserted island?
Some.
Okay.
All my maps.
No, I would hope so. Probably should know.
A lot of ships stop here for fresh water on the north side.
So you're familiar with others coming in?
Would I
visiting?
recognize him as an illusionist?
I mean, his face is about 50% Caucasian, so he definitely
Possible.
probably has the capability if he hadn't ever acted on it, so I'm saying.
Okay, let's.
He hasn't done anything to make any kind of illusion. Everything has been very practical. Now, so the Gnome Hold does have illusionists, but the Gnome Hold has a lot of technology. Like, they have actual machines that can walk. They have metal worked, almost like robots, automatons. It's
So are
very
we
advanced.
walking up there on foot?
And
or-
you're going to take the boat to the shore and then get out. Yep. All right? This is,
Are you guys getting on it too?
are you riding the boat to the shore with
Or are you
everyone
staying
else?
on the ship?
Yes, we would have there,
I'll go
Solid
to
ground
the-
does sound appealing.
Probably.
especially to the two who've been sick.
They've been not sick this
So I
day,
guess
but
we're all
still.
boarding the little ship.
Okay, yep. So all of you can fit. Toe and Raylan will stay and protect the boat just in case. Once in, he offers Nick an oar, and he goes on one side, takes the other oar. Anyone else can, any of y'all row, go ahead. We get there faster.
I'll help.
The more we row, the faster we get. Okay? All right?
I definitely do not.
Plenty of oars. Does Hibiscus row? Okay. So everyone's rowing except for Umbar.
Yep, I'm gonna sit there with my feet propped up.
All right.
You push him off the
Yes.
boat.
He does shove you to the back of the boat away from the oars once he realizes you're not going to row. He says, sit in the command seat. You're in the way.
I like the commands. Sounds good.
Don't let it go to your head. She's closer to command than you are.
Yeah.
If we get a cook, you can be a second cook. He doesn't laugh. Okay. All right. So you row to the island with no problem with two very equipped very capable sailors. You make it to the beach. The longboat grates up on the sand. Even here, the wind is whipping. You see little bits of sand moving along the beach. It's a very windswept beach. You can see lines in the sand from the wind. But ahead of you, the trees. It's a dense forest. They're very packed in. It's kind of a lot of lumber. And he goes toward a big rock. You find a trail. He is leading up the trail. Who is going second? Who said me? Okay. So it's
Hibiscus.
Chromatrix, Hibiscus, third,
I'll
Lotus.
go forward.
Iris. It is single file. It's a snaking trail through
I'm going
dense wood.
last.
Umbar's last. That leaves Nick and Anne.
Let him be in the back.
I'm going to go
Are you
behind
going before him?
Iris. What?
He'll be in the back with him, he said.
So Nick is next to the back. And then
Yeah.
Anne. All right, so that's our order. All right, you're walking up the snaking trail. I need everyone to make a dex check. There are lots of changes in altitude. The ground is basically rock. There are a lot of edges. And you have to be careful on the snaking trail. So I'm going to roll a d20 equal to or less than your dex.
Kind of nutsy.
Okay, roll a d20.
You got a good deck.
I got it 19.
Okay,
Oh, so you
I'll come back in a second. Did you roll? What did you get? You good? Okay. He's good. All right. Okay.
So is that it or something?
Yeah, so if you made your dex check, you don't have any trouble walking the trail, etc. However, Iris was
And Nick.
seasick yesterday. Oh, Nick failed as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Iris and Nick both stumble at one point. When you stumble, you slam your hand on a tree, and the bark of the tree, which is rough and sappy, like pine trees, basically, they're coniferous trees, it gets on your hand, but some of the bark actually cuts into your hand a little bit, enough to draw blood, and you take 1 point of damage. Okay? Iris stumbles going up a stone incline, and as your foot catches, slips off and then catches, and you go down and bruise your right knee for 1 point of damage. So you're down
I
one.
get up there and rest.
Okay. All right. Basically, it's a winding path through the forest, up the mountain, basically, is what you're doing. Okay? We'll pause for 1 second so we can pray for the food.
Yeah.
Find the quarter. All right. Father in heaven, bless this food. Watch over us. Thank you for entertainment. Thank you for the good things of this life. We know that we're meant to enjoy them and use them for your glory. That's what we're trying to do. Lord, we pray for those we visited during visitation today, that some of those who promised to be here tomorrow would be here, maybe even those we visited 2 weeks ago. We pray that your body would grow and would become more and more active in serving you. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. And the recorder is...
Stay tuned for more Lomunian adventures.